Good morning. It's the Rob from 1061 Kiss FM. And of course, I've got with me my tag team partner in podcasting, the wonderful, the amazing, the ramblin' one, Ramblin' Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
Good morning, Rob. How was Raw for you last night?
From the Big Froggy studio there in State College. How was Raw for me last night? I'm going to be honest with you, Jer. As someone who has been criticized for being kind of crotchety and whatever you want to describe me, I thought Raw last night was pretty good. What did you think?
For the first time in a long time, I really loved Raw. I thought that it didn't feel long. Pretty great stuff that we're going to get to. All of my frustration and all of my anger last night came from what was happening on my second television, because the Penguins were getting throttled by the Nashville Predators, and I was none too pleased.
4-1, right?
Yeah, the last two games they've been outscored 9-2. It's been pretty brutal. But they're going back to Pittsburgh, and I'm going to be the bad dad at my daughter's dance recital Thursday night. The scores of the game without my wife or her mother catching them.
Well, hey, that's better than your December dance recital. I remember you spent that dance recital at home filling your toilet with your vomit and crap.
Oh my God, I had the worst. I don't know what happened. You came to visit. I got so sick. And then the next day, I puke and rallied, and we were at Denny's by noon.
We really tested our intestines that trip. Like we were really taunting, our bodies that week. Hey, before
I was like, I had the full-blown flu last night, and you're like, yeah, let's go get milkshakes. And I was like, okay, let's go get milkshakes.
Hey, I know we probably have a bigger audience this time, because this is the episode in which we're going to be giving away WWE Raw tickets. Now, let me explain what this means for everybody. So a lot of people were concerned, and I understand their concern, that they needed to be watching the episode live today. And that is not the case. If you're tuning in, just watching the video, you're going to have just as much of a chance to win as everybody else does. And here's the way it's going to work. I'm going to shoot for, I don't want to do it at the very end of the video, but sometime in the middle of the video, I want to give a wrestling-related question. Not really trivia, like an opinion-based question. And then on Facebook, I believe later tonight or tomorrow morning, at some point over the next 24 hours, you're going to see us ask on Facebook what the answer to the question is. And if your answer, I'm not going to say like any opinion is fine, but let's just say, for example, I was like, who's your favorite WWE champion in history? That's not the question it's going to be. Let's just say that was my example question. And you said Razor Ramon. That would be a bad answer, because Razor Ramon was never champion. But let's say you said Shawn Michaels, even though I don't agree with it, he was close. That's still a valid answer. You know what I mean?
You could say Jack Swagger, and it's more valid than Razor Ramon.
You could say Jinder Mahal. It's more valid than Razor Ramon for some reason.
Maharaja
has more title reigns than Roddy Piper.
Oh, that's so sad.
Isn't
more
it?
Than Jake the Snake Roberts. What's wrong with the world?
Well, listen, Roddy Piper sealed his own fate. The only reason Roddy Piper was never, you know why that is, right?
No, I just thought that at that point in time, Vince wasn't worried about putting the belt on anybody other than Hulk Hogan.
Roddy Piper, with only very few exceptions, and you can go through and you can double check me because I'm not wrong about this, he refused to do jobs. And it was well known going into it that Roddy Piper would only lose when he wanted to, which was almost never. And it's very rare to see footage of him with his shoulders on the mat, because he would never allow himself to be pinned, which was why he had so few title runs in any company he was on. And the only time he didn't want to lay down for people like Hulk Hogan. He was very steadfast about that.
To be fair, Hulk Hogan didn't lay down for many people either, not until later.
Yeah, but when he was told to a lot of times, well, once he got that creative control, whatever. But that's one reason why I love that WrestleMania 8 match Roddy Piper and Bret the Hitman Hart. They gave Roddy Piper the Intercontinental Championship, I believe his first title in the WWE. He did agree upon receiving it. My understanding is that he would drop it at WrestleMania to Bret the Hitman Hart. The reason he decided to drop it to Bret was because he had a lot of respect for Bret.
Makes total sense to me.
So yeah, it's rare to see footage of Roddy Piper with his shoulders getting pinned for the 1, 2, 3. But that's neither.
But you can find plenty of video and pictures of Roddy Piper in half blackface.
Well, you can find that, and ironically, there is plenty of footage with Jinder Mahal's shoulders getting pinned, and only one time of him pinning shoulders. So he's like the opposite of Roddy Piper.
It's like the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of wrestlers. He's like on Raw, he can't win, but on SmackDown Live, he's a Maharaja. It's perfect. Okay,
so let's talk about Raw last night, because I actually I was texting with someone, one of my friends who might not even be watching this, but Brett was saying he did not enjoy Raw last night. I actually don't agree with it. I thought Raw was a pretty good show. My only complaint is the same complaint I have every week about Raw. It's just too long. It's an hour too long. If you would have made last night's show 2 hours, if you would have cut an hour of the crap, it would have been great. But there were some real highlights from the show last night.
Right. Well, and what they filled it with, like there was filler, but the filler was okay for me this time. You know, the T.J. Perkins and Neville stuff. Unfortunately, the cruiserweights, you're filler right now. Although I was looking at Neville last night, thinking, man, they've turned him into a real monster heel. It's a shame they can't find a way to transition all the 205 Live cruiserweight stuff to just the regular card. Because I think he would be good in like Fatal 5 Ways, and you know, why not put him in the main event scene at some point? He's doing a really good job of it. I thought that was good.
You talking about Neville?
Yeah, Neville.
Yeah, well, remember, here's what's frustrating is before the 205 and the cruiserweight division, Neville was just a normal Raw wrestler, and they never did anything with him.
Right. I didn't mind the filler stuff of Enzo. I didn't mind with Big Show. I didn't mind the Titus stuff this time. Like the filler stuff was okay because the big stuff they were hooking you with, it was quality.
I don't qualify the Enzo stuff as filler personally. This has been a 3 or 4 week now storyline where they keep on feeding us a little bit at a time, which is the way I like my storylines based. That to me is not filler. The stuff within, you might think Enzo and Big Show was, but that's all part of it, I feel like.
Well, maybe semantics. So what I mean when I say filler is things that are, you know, filling the show. They filled the show with that. They revisited it like 4 different times.
They didn't have a bad match, but I'm not sure that Wyatt and Reigns needed to have 3 segments.
Boy, you're gonna hate me for this one.
No, go ahead.
I thought partway through it that was a really incredible match.
It wasn't bad. I wouldn't say it was really incredible.
I didn't put match of the year. I didn't put it in my match of the year list. I have a list, and there are 3 matches in there right now.
Hold on. You're putting it in the same conversation as matches of the year?
No. I didn't put it in the list. But halfway through the match, I opened up my notes because I thought maybe if this keeps going, I thought it was really good match. I just thought it was really great. And for some reason, I was really into it. I was just loving the match. And then I was like, nah, it's not match of the year. You're being crazy, Jerry. Move along. And I did. It did things for me. It got me invested. I think a lot of it for me, I'm sitting next to a 6-year-old who's losing his mind, going crazy, all the near falls, all the stuff outside the ring. I think you would find it enjoyable if you had that experience, because Evan is just going crazy. And then when Roman Reigns wins, he's like, oh, I knew it. And he's going crazy. And I don't actually hate the fact that Roman Reigns won, because my son's pumped about it. He's got his action figure out. And he's crazy, going crazy. Talk about wanting a believe that shirt. Shoot me.
So let me ask you, and you listen. That's a valid reason for liking a match. Like whatever criteria you want to use. I've been getting criteria shamed for how I evaluate pay-per-views and things of that nature. Whatever criteria you want to use.
You're not getting it from me. You don't get the shame from me.
No, I don't. Well, I mean, you kind of have before, but that's okay. I use my own grading scale, and you use yours. Let me ask you though, in all seriousness, when you said you had that thought of putting it on your list of matches of the year, and then you said, "Don't be crazy, Jared. That's crazy." Was that thought in my voice?
No. It could have been in your voice. Like, be serious. Could you be serious? I heard Guerrero
I'm not going to say they had a bad match, but I would never have considered putting that in a match of the year status last night.
But it was good, and I really enjoyed it. And I think part of what I enjoyed about it was the fact that I thought, here we go again. This is exactly what happened 2 weeks ago. Bray Wyatt starts the show. Roman Reigns interrupts him. 20 minutes of talking, a little bit of a match, and then you've got a mixed tag. Oh, they just talked for like a minute, and then they fought. And I loved how they didn't spend 30 minutes setting the hook this time. They just got right into it. They got right into the show.
Yeah, no, that's true. And the show, so my complaint for the past 3 weeks has been that Raw's been a carbon copy of the week before. Really, I felt like it's been one episode of Raw 4 times since their last pay-per-view, Payback. This one felt different and fresh to me, with a lot of looking forward to. I still hate saying the name of the next pay-per-view, but Great Balls of Fire, which is good.
Goodness gracious!
So they've got the next pay-per-view, and it seems like the overwhelming thought that I have from the Raw last night was they're really trying, and they're putting the pedal to the metal with getting Joe over as a monster. Like they haven't been saying he's not a monster, but like now it's like pedal to the metal. We need him to be a monster starting yesterday and go. And
that was the first time they really made him super intimidating. Did a really good job with him and Paul Heyman and that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I've always loved how when Heyman comes to the ring, he stands outside the ropes, mid whatever, and he's like, "I'm an advocate. May I?" He always asks to be invited into the ring. He never just goes in. And everyone forever seems to, it is the little things that I like, honor that. They always honor that. It's not often Paul gets throttled. He's come face to face with a lot of superstars. When he's walking out and Joe doesn't let him out, and then I like the little touch of Joe putting the mic down, and then they turn the camera mic on, and he's just kind of whispering him. The crowd has no idea what's going on, but he's like petting his head, and he's almost just like, "This is gonna hurt me more than it hurts you. Trust me, but you're gonna pass the message along, Paulie, because it's over now." And then bang, and then zing, and then the Coke, and then the Coca-Cola clutch, and then flying under the back, and then good. That was so well done.
Yeah. So
that was well.
There were 3 segments last night that I really, really liked. That's one of them. And this is kudos to Joe and to Paul, because one of my thoughts about this is I feel like if you would have just described what happened in that segment to me, I probably would have said that sounds like I wouldn't like it. But their execution, I thought, was really well done. I think it's time for us to really get serious about Joe being that monster that he's supposed to be. And last night, Joe really got over with me. And let me remind you, I'm someone who has been taking Joe to task, not here lately. I feel like since he's been on Raw, I've been giving him fair reviews. But prior to his arrival in NXT or even WWE, I haven't been a huge fan of his. What he did last night, I loved. I just loved the intimacy of when he put the mic down, when like it wasn't for it. What are you doing?
I'm recreating. You describe it, and this is what was going on. The frog will be Paulie, and I'll be Samoa Joe.
So yeah, so Paulie's in there, and Paulie's kind of getting uncomfortable. He's ready to leave, and Joe, with his body language, doesn't let him leave. But the thing that made it so unique was putting the microphone down, and the crowd was getting really antsy, and we're
whispering into his ear. He was like this.
Yeah, and we're at home turning our volumes up because we want to hear what's going on. But that was just a mechanism to say, this isn't for them. I'm not doing this to be a memorable promo. I'm doing this because this is the only thing I care about. And this isn't for the audience. It's not for the live crowd. It's not for the TV audience. This is just for you, Paul. And this is just for you, Brock.
It's just for you.
And you kind of didn't know if he was gonna snap and put him in the clutch. And then when it happens, it just was explosive. And it really gets the holdover. It got Joe over. It makes me want to see him fight Brock. That's what wrestling's all about when it's done properly.
And it kind of made him sound psychotic when he's like, you're going to feel a tingling in your throat, and then your eyes are going to get hazy, and then you're going to go under, and then that's going to be it. And it's going to hurt for a minute, but that's going to be that. And then Coca-Cola clutch! And then bang to the ground. And it was, and then I loved again when they revisit it, and you've got Paulie, and he's with the trainers, and I was like, are we gonna get Paulie dangerously with a neck brace? Like, can we just please flash back in time? So he's back there, and then he gets the phone call from Brock, and it just sets it up perfectly. Brock Lesnar is surprising everybody, coming back next week, and he's coming back to unleash hell. He's gonna be like animal next week, and it's got me, and now I'm hooked. You're right, Rob. It was perfect.
Right.
That was one of the big ones. There were a couple other things. That storyline throughout the night was awesome.
And hey,
this stuff was
hey,
great.
Hold on. Before we keep going, they followed this up. If I would have told you 1 week ago that Joe and Rollins are going to be fighting in a one-on-one contest, Joe's going to make Rollins tap, or I guess he didn't tap, I guess he passed out to the coquina clutch, or as you call it, the Coca-Cola clutch. I would be like, that
Coca-Cola clutch.
I mean, they're getting that hold over. Joe shouldn't win with anything else up until he fights Brock.
Right. Well, in 2 nights, he made 3 people go to bed with it. One of them was Paul Heyman, but he made him go to sleep with it. Finn Balor, Paul Heyman, and Seth Rollins. He Coca-Cola classic to all 3 of them, and now all of a sudden everybody's like, whoa, this could be legit. He gets Brock Lesnar in this. They say this in jiu-jitsu a lot. It doesn't matter how big you are. Everybody has a neck that chokes. So it's kind of like the great equalizer. I love it. I love him saying he's not afraid of Brock, and Heyman saying, I'm not afraid. Brock's not afraid of you. And I don't know. I wish that it wasn't. I hope it's not a blow off like Great Balls of Fire, and then we're going to move Brock to something else. Like, I feel like this is something I could sink my teeth into for more than 5 weeks. Agree or disagree?
Joe is getting over with me big time. I've never liked Joe more than I do right now. And I also want to, I don't know if this comparison will hit with you or not, or how many people watching will get this comparison. But in 1994, Bret Hart had a feud with Bob Backlund. I'm very affectionate to it because that was one of the first storylines I ever got into. I started watching wrestling the month before. It culminated with a Survivor Series submission match. And it wasn't even like Bret Hart versus Bob Backlund. It was the sharpshooter versus the crossface chicken wing. And for whatever reason, they set the crossface chicken wing up as if it were like a gunshot, as if like no one can survive a crossface chicken wing. And that's what they need to continue to do with the coquina clutch. Make it this unbreakable death hold that once it gets synced in, you are done. And they're just continue to do what they're doing. Bang, they're good.
Yeah, I don't want it to become like the attitude adjustment or even the Superman punch.
Yes.
Like, I don't want it to become a move that anybody can kick out of ever. I want it to be like the pedigree used to be. You get hit with a pedigree by Triple H, and the match is over. You get an RKO, it's over. And if it's not, it's special, and it's not every pay-per-view. The same with the Coca-Cola Classic Clutch.
I think those examples, I feel like it needs to be even more special, because I guarantee you can find people kicking out of pedigrees or RKOs. It's over. Coquina Clutch.
So you want it to be like a Jake the Snake Roberts DDT. That's the end of it.
I guess. I guess the only thing I can compare it to is a crossface chicken wing from 1994. And this will be a good transition into, how about we make this our Facebook question for the WWE Raw tickets. Just tell me your favorite finishing move and who did it best. So here's what's going to happen. There will be a Facebook post, not on my personal page, not on my Rob Hirschfield page, on 1061 Kiss FM. We're going to post this video. It will probably be, now that I think about it, okay, it's going to go up around 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. Tuesday, okay? So when you see it, I'll let you know this is the one for the Raw tickets. Tell me your favorite finishing move and the guy who did it, and you're qualified to win. We'll pick a random winner. As long as it's a real hold and one of those guys did it, you're qualified. Okay, Jer?
Try to get the name correct. I mean, like,
say what?
Try to get the name right when you put your favorite hold down.
Say what?
Say. Last night with that video with R-Truth, when it was the What's Up Productions, I was like, oh, come on.
You know what? I need to explain myself too. I could just let this go, but I realized I made a big flub yesterday. I made a joke that made no sense. For some reason, remember we were talking about the coup de grace, and I said I hate how they like the S on that. And
for some, an E at the end.
Or whatever. Well, they make that S sound, I mean.
Yeah.
And then I was like, it felt like deja vu. And that makes no sense. For some reason, I thought there was an S at the end of deja vu. I don't know why I thought that, but I'm an idiot.
It's like rendezvous.
Yeah, maybe that's what I was thinking of or something like that. But I don't know. I said a joke, and you guys must have been wondering what the heck I was talking about. But sometimes I screw up. What can I say?
So to clarify, on the post show, we still want participation, and that's always fun. And I'm sure we'll debate. But for the Raw tickets, tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., the official radio station page is where you have to do it.
Yes. You won't get any credit for doing it on Rob Hirschfield's Facebook page. All right?
But so, that's where I'm going to do it. That's where I'm going to do it.
And that's fine with me. And I do have what I think is the best finishing move ever, and we'll get to that later on. Let's talk right now. You wanted to transition into the Miz and Ambrose, which is where I wanted to go as well. As I would say, that was another example.
I love how they're Elias Sampson into the whole thing, because he's been involved a little bit. Just enough that at some point him and Dean Ambrose might have something. But yeah, it was just Dean and Miz.
But they had what I thought was the match of the night on Sunday night. They come back on Raw, and in my opinion, hit big with me. So WWE has been trolling me, and I'm assuming some of the longtime fans. And the way they did it last night was just awesome. The way they trolled us last night was awesome, and I'll explain why. As soon as I saw that bear, I'm sure
I know.
I can speak for myself. I'm sure I can speak for you. I'm sure I can speak for any fan who's been watching for any great length of time that's passionate about wrestling. We all knew Dean Ambrose was inside that bear costume. And then they start talking.
There was no reason for that bear to be there. None.
It was such a wrestling thing to do. And then as soon as Miz and Marie start saying, I didn't get the bear. Did you get the bear? And they're all like, no. And then it's like, it's just like, I was like, God, why are you guys doing this to me? You make it. Well, I saw it coming a mile down the street. I saw it hailing a taxi cab down the street. Like this, I saw this coming from so far away. This is so lame. And then they do it. And as soon as he hit the show-stopping finale, or the skull-crushing finale, I keep calling it the wrong thing. I apologize for that. The skull-crushing finale. That's when I knew it wasn't Ambrose. And when he took the mask off, I thought it was a great reveal. I thought that was awesome.
Because he was like, well, at least you got beat up by the Intercontinental Champ. Wham! Out of the ring.
It's just the fact that I knew it.
Every little thing. They had the littlest detail to troll you too. Aside from the fact that everyone knew Dean was in the bear, at one point when the bear is doing like this, you can see the bear's wrists, like his bare skin. His wrists are taped like Dean Ambrose's.
I didn't even notice.
I was like, it's Dean Ambrose. There's no doubt. He's even taped the same way. This is stupid. And then it wasn't. And then he wasn't in the big box. And then it was so good.
I'll be honest, I didn't think he was in the big box, but I knew he was going to get there at some point. And I also will say, I won't toot my own horn, but once that cameraman started getting close, I kind of spotted it was Dean. But still, bravo. That was just awesome. Troll me more.
Yeah. Yeah, do that more. By the way, that segment had my line of the night.
What is it?
This is in the ring at first with Maurice, and there is a half-hearted "You deserve it" chant. And
yeah.
And he goes, that chant would mean so much more if you didn't do it for every superstar that gets a new title. Yeah, I love how he can get accolades from the crowd. And he turns it around and says, no, you're going to hate me. I'm going to make sure you hate me.
Yeah. No, that was great. In fact, I'll be honest.
He's a great heel.
Raw had my attention last night. I must have missed that live. I saw that on Facebook earlier this morning. That is a great line. I love that. So that segment, excuse me, I think I speak for both of us saying that really worked for me. We'll go something I did like. Another thing I did like, I should say. While it never had like its own long, drawn-out real segment, I like that they kept feeding us. I like little bits at a time. I don't need the whole story to be told in 1 week. I like the way they're telling this Enzo story, this Enzo and Cass story.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to end with them breaking up at the end, but they're definitely showing animosity now. But I can't believe that Enzo attacked Cass.
That was the impression.
Enzo would never.
Yeah, I don't exactly know.
Cass.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it, and that's one thing that I like. I don't know where they're going with it, so this is perfect.
I'm reading. I read it meant nothing to me, but I guess it would mean something to some people. Some people think that we're going to see like the Young Bucks. I don't know who they are.
No, I don't think that's just one of those outlandish things that's not going to happen. Personally,
that's just a dumb internet thing. Are they good? Are they boy club or what are they?
Boy, I to be honest with you, I'm going to get heat for saying this. I almost wish you didn't ask. I think they're crazy overrated. I think their psychology sucks. They do like 60 super kicks in a match, and they're not bad. I mean, they're very capable. They're talented. They're good athletes. They're certainly capable of having a good match. I have psychological disagreements with the way they put matches together. That just drives me crazy, to be honest with you, Jer.
I feel bad for saying it. I'm sorry I asked, but remember, you may think they're overrated, but I didn't even know who they were. So,
sure.
So it's going to be me.
Yeah, the big thing that I just can't stand is like they got it's almost like their gimmick is doing these ridiculous amounts of super kicks, and I just don't. That's supposed to be, I don't know. It should be a little more special if you ask me personally. So yeah, they're not my cup of tea. I don't know. They're not, like I said, they're not bad. I'd be very open to them coming to WWE because I think WWE would. I don't know, brainwashing is the right word, but they'd work that crap out of them.
Yeah, and I don't think they'd start them on the main roster. I think they'd be NXT.
Oh yeah, for sure. It takes, I think, only the biggest of stars, like the AJ Styles, are the ones who are going to bypass NXT. Just got a note from Steve. Steve says, "Yep, you're going to get it from the indie kids." You know, if you're still listening, Steve, I'm sure you are. Let me know what you am I wrong about that? Like, do you agree, disagree with me? I feel like this is going to be the way the post show just turned now. But either way, that's
no, because you know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start putting people through flaming tables. indie kids. How about I do that?
So yeah, we'll move forward from this. There was something I didn't like. I'm really worried. Hold on, Steve. Just nope. That's my mom. Sorry, mom is not watching.
What does she say?
She's very excited to see me. She's flying in tomorrow to see Brittany and me.
Oh, good. You're gonna get to see mom.
Yeah,
That's
mom's
nice.
coming in. So there was one thing I didn't like, and I'm coming back to this. This might feel like a repeat comment, but it bears repeating because it happened again last night. I really am worried about Alexa Bliss, and that I mean we're still living in that segment from, is it 2 or 3 weeks old now that This Is Your Life? I think it's 2 weeks old.
Oh, I think you're overreacting. I think that they're poking fun at how bad it was. I think that they're not really in the back letting her hold the bag.
I think she's holding
but
the bag.
They can't say on camera that it was actors.
I think she's holding the bag. I feel like when the decision comes for her to lose that title, it's going to come sooner than it probably should have. And part of the rationale will be because of that terrible Bayley This Is Your Life segment. I almost just want them to let it die, and they shouldn't be deleting it from anything. It wasn't – God, there are so many worse segments that have aired on Raw than the This Is Your Life thing. And
it again now. No.
Right. I do too.
See it again, and I want to revel in how bad it was. Because it was awful, dude. It was absolutely terrible. Couldn't believe, and I thought of you when they brought it up again when Kurt Angle's like, that was one of the worst segments in the history of Raw. I was like, wow, that's overstating it a bit, and you are.
Dude, have you ever, I mean, as a radio guy, I'm assuming at some point in time in your show, in the history of your career, which is certainly longer than mine, you've had some, we'll call it an interview, or maybe some local business person come into your show to promote their business for whatever reason that the station wants you to do, and you felt like that interview or just had a segment on your show that you thought just sucked. It's
that
not
was yesterday. It
Yeah.
happened to me yesterday. They bring in these 2 women from this American Cancer Society thing that they're going to be doing, and I've got the info sheet, and no one tells me that they don't know how to speak. Because I'm like, so I see here we got a silent auction, and that's going to be cool. A lot of cool items, I assume, for that. Yes.
So my thing is, let's say that
monosyllabic responses. It happened to me yesterday. I still have the tape on it. I mean, it was bad yesterday. So yes, it happens. Are there stinkers all the time? Sure. I think the fact that they aren't ignoring it and they're working it into the story means that they're okay with it. I think that if Vince wanted it to go away, Vince would have it just go away.
My thing is, would you want people to keep bringing up that interview weeks and weeks from now? Do you think that's a fair barometer of your talent?
No.
Right, exactly. That's all I'm saying. And you could have been working like Ric Flair with a broomstick in there, and that lady's just going to be the broomstick essentially. And you're trying your hardest to make it listenable. And we've all been there. Anyone in radio has probably been there. At least morning radio can say, that's just part of what happens. I don't want people bringing it up weeks and weeks from now. That's not who I am. That wasn't my fault. It wasn't your fault.
Right.
So that's the way I feel about that.
I'm surprised that Bayley brought it up on Sunday. I was surprised Kurt Angle brought it up last night. I can't imagine they're going to bring that up again.
All right, hold on. I've got feedback from some of the post show. I've got some live feedback here. All right, so Michael says about the Young Bucks. I'm reading this for right now as I speak. Young Bucks are super talented and can actually put in some great psychology, but they've custom tailored their super kick party thing to the indie crowd. Your comments are completely valid. Okay, I appreciate that, and I agree. Yeah, I think that if they structure their matches differently, they could be among the best tag teams ever. So I agree with Mike there. Did Steve ever respond about the Young Bucks? Let me see if Steve got back to me. Hold on one second, please. No, he just said that we're going to get it from the indie kids. But I'm glad that Mike waited. Mike certainly knows more about the Young Bucks than I do. I've only seen a handful of their stuff, but every single time they always come back to these super kicks. And you can lead up to it, but Jarrett, it's all match long.
When we find out who attacked Enzo and Cass, it ends up being the Necro Butcher.
Anything else from Raw?
That's my hope. That's my wish.
Yeah, no, I do love. I love on the post show when you get the exposure to the Necro Butcher. Mike always finds the best clips to show you of the Necro Butcher.
He's the best when it comes to the Necro Butcher.
If it was the Necro Butcher, you know he'd be Cass would have been swimming in his own blood.
Just follow the trail of blood. It looks like someone gut a deer back there. No, it's just the Necro Butcher.
If it looks like the trail of blood walked into a wall 7 times, it's because he's blind. Oh, where'd you go, Jer?
My wife keeps calling me, and it's pissing me off.
Dude, are you going to come? Is it going to be a TLC?
I keep declining the call, and she keeps calling, and it vibrates, and it knocks the camera down, and then the whole thing, then I'm gone.
Feud of the year this year for the Posties has to be Valeri.
I'm gonna kill her. DDT's coming. I'm telling you right now.
Don't put her in the Coquina Clutch. I can't bail you out.
I'm gonna stick her in the Coca-Cola Classic, and she's gonna go down. Okay.
Is there anything else you want to say before I wrap this one up? I love this episode, by the way.
It was a great run. I got to go. She's calling again. I gotta go.
Call her from the top of a ladder.
I'm going to drop an elbow. A swanton bomb coming at her.
Valeri's going to do his Necro Butcher impression.
Seriously,
all right.
Let's wrap this up.
I hope someone will. All right. I'll see you later, Jer. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.